Welcome to Madrid Reviews. This is your host, Christian Madrid. And on today's video, we're going to be talking about The Amateur. Let's get to the review now, yo. Alright, y'all, let's get into this. So, I just saw The Amateur, and it was pretty good. It's a nice little mid-budget action thriller. And these types of movies we don't really get anymore, and it's a shame because I like these kind of movies. They're usually good, like The Amateur. Like what happened to those good old mid-budget like action thriller movies like Collateral or Man on Fire, like Phone Booth, like much more examples I could name. Like where are these at? Like a couple years ago Ambulance came out with Jake Gyllenhaal. I really like that movie. Like I want these kind of movies. They're just simple, nice premise action thrillers. I want these back. James Howes did a great job directing this movie, as this is a very well-directed film. It reminds me a little bit of Enemy of the State, another, mid-budget action thriller. It reminds me of that a bit, and it has a little similar tone. That one might be a little better. I haven't seen it in a while, but this one's good too. He did a good job, James Howes. The writing, it's pretty good in this film. It juggles a lot of stories, but I think it all comes together. Sort of, I'll get on that in a moment. It's pretty good. I enjoyed the story that it gives us. It has a mixture of both, spy genre tropes, as well as breaking away from some of those tropes, by having this protagonist who's physically weak. His wife dies by a terrorist attack, and he wants to get revenge for her. But like obviously, Rami Malek, he's scrawny and his character is not, strong in the movie, very physically strong, but mentally he's pretty strong and he's able to smart his way through things because he's too scared to pull a trigger, as it shows throughout the movie. So he takes down, the people who killed his wife in other ways. I'll let you see, I won't go too much into that so you can see for yourself in the movie. But I think it's pretty amazing how the movie does that. The dialogue is good as well, with some good suspenseful, moments, and action moments to keep you intrigued throughout. I will say though, the ending is a bit underwhelming and predictable, as I feel the ending could have left us more on a satisfying note than it did. I won't spoil it for you guys, but when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's at least my opinion. I think the ending could have been better. The acting is good in this movie. The action's good too, but the acting, is really good. As I thought Rami Malek does give a good performance. He's a good actor, very talented actor. Bohemian Rhapsody did a good job as Freddie Mercury in that. Loved him, Mr. Robot. And he gives a good performance in this film. And Lawrence Fishburne also gives a great performance, and they have a nice cat and mouse game throughout the film, and they have great chemistry together, these two actors. The cinematography is good, as it makes great use of lighting, dark lighting in certain scenes, and natural light, it makes good use of that, and some great camera work on display. The production design offers some cool locations and set pieces throughout the film to give it its spy thriller feel. I like how they decided to shoot on actual locations at these, like Paris and other countries that uses throughout the film. Pretty cool. The sound design is solid with the great score to make this movie feel more intense and give it more emotion. I think the score does that really excellently. The editing gives this film great pacing. It's only 2 hours long, and I think it's a good runtime for this kind of film, for this mid-budget action, film. It's usually around like the 2 hour mark. I think perfect, Overall, The Amateur is a great way to kill 2 hours, I found it to be very enjoyable, entertaining watch, and I recommend it, so check it out. We're eating good watching this movie. I give it a B. We are eating good. I would say McDonald's, Taco Bell type shit. Alright, y'all, so that is the end of the video. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment on whether you have seen The Amateur or you excited to see it. Let me know your thoughts. What's your favorite spy thriller or mid-budget action thriller movie? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and let you know when I drop a new review. Appreciate you all for watching. See you on the next one. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night, whatever time you're watching this. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch me talk about movies. Thank you. Adios.